Yay for computers and not iPads. Okay. Hi, guys. So now you just heard my song story of the day. All right. So we made it to week 6. I'm going to just start this whole conversation off by saying that this is not like, this shouldn't be your end. This should be your platform to continue. This 6 weeks was designed to teach you how to find balance. So we don't want you to be like, I did it, I'm done. And I'm going to say this because it resonates. I had a client that said to me one time, well, you're at your goal weight, so you're done. And I chuckled. I was like, done? It's not like you get to a number and you get to like lock it in. You got to work to keep that number and you have to work to keep going and be healthy, right? So I don't want anyone here to think that like I did my 6 weeks and I'm done. You should be super proud of what you did in the 6 weeks. And now you know all of the pieces and you know how to do it. You know what it feels like. You know how to cheat. You know how to fall off. You know how to go on vacation. You know how to, go through a cycle, like everything that you have gone through in life, majority of the time will happen within the 6 weeks that you're here. So we don't want you to treat this like check done. This is like, okay, I graduated. I get to graduate to the next level. Because this is an ongoing process. And we don't want this to feel like work, because if it feels like work, then you're going to need a break. Right? And sometimes a break can go too long. So just remember everything you learned and how you feel and all the tools, and we'll go through those step by step tonight, all the tools that you've learned to just bring yourself back to where you are here. Because this was never meant to be just 6 weeks. It was meant to be your foundation for the rest of your life. So if you can switch, if anyone had that simple mindset of like, I just have to get through the 6 weeks, there's no magic ending. There's no magic number that just stays forever. It's all about choices, about balance, about discipline, about choosing to cheat. It's all those things. So I just want to put that out there before we start. We kind of recap everything you know. You probably don't realize how much you've learned in the last 6 weeks. So before I go on, does anyone have anything they want to say on how they're feeling now as compared to where they were 6 weeks ago? Whether it's mentally, physically, this is a journey.
Karen, I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you know like what your goal weight is? I don't even, like, my whole point was to just get healthy and stop eating so terribly. And I have, but I'm like, I don't even know where I want to be.
It's a really great question, Nicole. I'm not a numbers person. I just know how I feel and I know how my clothing fits. I know what that number is for me. I personally don't own a scale. I am weighed once a year at the gynecologist. I know what that number is going to say when I walk in. So I'm not stuck on a number. I would be stuck on a feeling that you're having. If you feel really good where you are, where you feel like you have energy to do the things you want to do, your clothing fits the way you want, you have some freedom in your weekends and your food, you feel like you have a grasp on like your go-tos and your staples, and you feeling really good, that could be your number. If you're still like, okay, there's a pair of jeans that I'm dying to fit into, that could be your number. So I would never get locked into an actual number on the scale, because that number might be unrealistic. Like, I have a friend that she's 56 years old. She's a peanut. You know her, Chris. She is so locked in on a number, and she's been doing this program with me for a very long time, and she's really healthy, but she's from, right, she's a decade older than me. So she's from this world of like I still have to fight her on a number on a scale and a calorie counting. Like, I just can't smack her out of it. But she's so locked in on a number. And I said to her, if you get to that number, you will look 10 years older than you look right now. She would look old. She would be like, she would look old. She should not be that number anymore, but she's so set on that number because that was the number that she was when she was 30. Right. So I would think about how you feel.
Yeah, I think about like where I was. I don't think I can do that at 50. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being
No,
putting,
you
I don't think I can.
You're not, Nicole, because I'm the same way. And I still like look at a number and I'm like, that's not where I was in high school, right? But like that was 30 years ago,
How
but more than that. So it's really hard to stop thinking about that number and where you think you should be. So I as well struggle with that. And you just have to sort of like go by the jeans you want to be in, how you're feeling, that kind of like I honestly have a pair of jeans that if they're tight, like I know that I'm like, oh, fuck, right? Gotta get back on. So, and I like how you look in the mirror, how you feel, like how you're comfortable, right? Wherever you're comfortable. Like we're not looking for perfect models because guess what? Those perfect models don't really look like that anyway either. So
just think for, like Nicole, like I see you, so I know what you're talking about, but like imagine if you feel really good right now. Like say you got stuck to a number, that number's 5 pounds less than where you are, which would be a big shift in what you look like. You might not look good. You might not feel good. You might show up and be like, I'm tired all the time.
Lose more weight. And I was so excited. I was like, they made my day.
What'd you say?
The people at work the other day were like, do not lose any more weight. You're going to be too thin. I was like, I'm not even like, I'm like 10 pounds away from what that weight is in my brain. And they were like, no, you'll be too thin. I was like, you made my day.
Totally. Because think about it, our body composition changes all the time, right? Like your body composition, it changes. Like this is not about numbers. It never was, like, which is why we don't count a calorie. But the only number that we really focus on is your net carb, because it's the only way to keep it in check, right? Because otherwise we just overdo that. It's the only reason we give you a range in that number, because that's the number where it sneaks in, and then it's just the way that you feel tips to the opposite side.
Can I piggyback on that, Karen? So I was reading a study yesterday, and it's a very simple study, and they took 2 groups. And they both brought them down to low carb diets. And they kept one group at just a low carb diet. And then they kept one group at a low carb diet, but they upped their protein by 15%. And that group that upped their protein by 15% actually lost more weight than the low carb diet alone. So again, it's not all about the calories, it's what you're eating. And as we get older, protein is so important. There's so many studies going in the direction of the higher protein, the more protein you have is really going to help you build muscle, stay leaner, burn body fat. So, don't, as Karen said, don't obsess over those numbers, is that finding what works for you. So just think about that. And it keeps you fuller longer.
I mean, listen, like aminos are super, super important. And certainly as we age, like Lori's saying. So like, just keeping it clean, doing what you're doing. And I promise you guys, and some of you might be dealing with it right now, you will plateau. And it's normal to plateau because your body's like, okay, this is a really safe space for me, right? But if you're not where you want to be and you hit a plateau, we just need to change something, right? We need to change something. So maybe it's eating a little bit more protein than you normally do. Maybe it's having a big cheat, so your body goes back to here. And then when you drop it back down to where you are, your body's like, oh, okay, we're going to move in that direction again. Maybe it's trying intermittent fasting if you haven't tried it. Maybe it's making your fast slightly longer 3 times a week. You just have to do something different to create change, right? We've talked about this before. Like you're going to get to a level by using 10-pound bicep curls. And that's it. You're not going to get any stronger. You're not going to get any stronger. I'm not saying every single time. It could be 2 days of your week that's slightly different. It could be 2 longer fasts. It could be a fast when you don't fast. It could be more eating in one day than you normally do. Something different will create different. Maybe it's changing how you're drinking your water, right? Going to bed earlier. Something that you change will create change again, right? Which is why restricted calorie is probably the worst thing that you could possibly do for your long-term health. Because every time you restrict calories, like, great, I'm going to go from a 2,500 calorie diet to a 1,200 calorie diet. I'm going to lose weight. Of course you are. Of course you are. The first 2 or 3 weeks, of course you are. First of all, that sounds boring as hell. I couldn't imagine eating 1,200 calories only a day. But you get there and then you're going to plateau at 1,200 calories. Now you start to introduce food and your body's like, thank you, right? I'm going to start storing that again. Next time you try to cut calories to lose weight, you know what you have to go to? 1,000 calories. So every time you use calories as that barometer of where your weight loss is, every time you do it, when you come back to it, it has to go lower and lower and lower. So we want you to focus on your good fats, focus on your high protein, focus on your vegetables, and focus on your fiber. And those are the things that are going to continue helping you. Just switching it around is change. So maybe you have, like Lori's saying, maybe you think about it and you're like, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of fat out. I'm going to add more protein in for 2 days. Let's see if that works. You know, like I'm going to have a big cheat. Let's see if that works. So I just like everyone needs to recognize the work that you put in. And if is anyone at a plateau? And a plateau means like anyone at a plateau means that you've literally not lost an ounce in over a week. So either stick it out and it might react again. Give it 2 weeks. If nothing changes in 2 weeks, right? If you're just staying the same for 2 weeks, then change something up. And that's what you
do. You guys who are plateaued right now, do you, and that's not uncommon in 6 weeks to hit a plateau. That's pretty common. You've been doing this, you've been doing something consistent for 6 weeks. Is there something you're like, blah, I don't want to do this anymore? Like in there, like change that up. Like, are you tired of eating eggs for breakfast every day? Like maybe you're eating eggs for breakfast every day. Change that up. If you know, I don't know, or eating the same lunch every day, change that up. If you've been fasting every day, don't fast for a day or two. And then make sure you're drinking water. Water is super important too. I know like we push that, but sometimes that's easy to fall off and you don't even realize it.
I want to say that any weight loss is still moving in the right direction. So it's really hard to lose weight, right? I'm not sure if Lori touched on this last week, but like to actually lose weight. So we have fat cells in our body that we have created through time, right? We don't create new fat cells. We just fill them back up and we deflate them and we fill them up and we deflate them. That's gaining weight, losing weight, right? They're established. They've been established probably since puberty, right? Does everyone have their problem area? It was there. It's always going to show up there. It's always going to be there. All it is that fat cell is just puppy and then you're shrinking it, right? So when we use fat as fuel and we get that fat out of that cell and we burst it and we use it as our source of energy, right? As opposed to using the high carbohydrate diet and the processed foods and all those things, when we get it out of the cell, it's a very hard process. It's hard to lose weight, right? It's pretty easy at first because your body's doing something different and you're on this great trajectory and then it slows. I'm going to use the analogy of like going from like a 10-minute mile to an 8-minute mile to a 5-minute mile. It is way easier to get from 10 to 8, 8 to 5, 8 to 6, 6. When you're at a 5-minute mile, the amount of work that you have to do to shave 2 seconds off is harder. So the closer you are to your goal, the slower that process is going to be. Because that margin is so small, but the work that has to go into it is that much. It's just longer. Like it is what it is. When the margins get smaller, it's harder to get there. It's not a bad thing. You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent with where you are.
And is the goal, are you stale on the scale and you feel like your clothes are just consistently still fitting better and your inches are coming off? Is it like you're looking at one thing that you feel you're plateauing, or is it just everything? Because I know that I stall on the scale, but like I'll wake up in the morning and, you know, I'll still be the same in the scale, but I'll feel a little bit leaner and maybe my clothes will fit a little bit better. So look at those other things as well. Scale sucks, guys.
I hate the scale. I've never liked the scale. The scale, I feel like it's the same thing. Like, I feel like it is so hard for me to move the scale. Like,
I want you to go by inches and jeans.
But inches definitely work and jeans feel better. But that damn scale, it still says the same shit. And I'm like, but I feel better. So that's how I know it works. So like, I don't try not to get too caught up in that.
Nope. And that's where people fall off and fail, right? That's where people, because they're like, freak this. I'm not, you know, the scale sucks. I'm not doing this. And you love, but if you, and listen, we've been doing this for a long time and it's still up here. It's still hard to get, I'll get off the scale and be like, shit. But like, who said this morning that they have no belt notches left on their belt? They have to get a smaller belt. Like, that's a huge win. Like, who cares what the scale says? Right? That's huge. So I know it's
Yeah,
hard.
and what Karen said too about like when the margin gets smaller, like I just feel like it's this very small margin that I'm just like, I just can't ever break it. So when you say about a plateau, that's how I feel about the plateau. I'm like, why can't I just ever get there? But everything else checks out. Like my clothes fit better. Like I went to try on a clothes the other day and I was like, oh my God, this feels nice. So it is really good because I do feel like better overall. But I did have a question on intermittent fasting. And Carrie, I think we might have talked about this. I can't remember or not, but I usually honestly get to the 12, like you said, everyone usually gets to the 12. That's kind of easy. And some days I'll get to like a 14, which is never really a problem for me. But my thing is like, I take the 6:15s, Car, in the morning.
Yep.
So they say like recovery after a workout is key. So my whole thing, because I try to work out most of the time in the morning early, and on those mornings, like I don't want to just not eat anything to like recover from, working out. So I always feel like I need at least a protein, and a healthy fat, obviously, to recover my muscles after working out at least 30 minutes to an hour after working out. How do you like work around that?
I'm gonna have Lori start off and then I'm gonna jump in, but there's two schools of thought on that. And
Okay.
I that's what we've been taught.
Yes.
I'm gonna start with that thought. Just like we were taught to eat sugar-free, fat-free, and we were taught to, right? Like,
right.
Everybody's body is different. My suggestion, go ahead, Lori, what are your thoughts on that, Laura?
So my thought is when I work out at 8 and I still fast, I won't eat till, depending on the day, noon or 1. It's never affected me. It feels really good. Maybe I'll come home and have a little bit of my green juice, which will take me out of my fast a little bit, but I'll drop right back in it pretty quick from there. But are you feeling, oh my God, I need something, I'm dying? Or are you going by, well, I was told I need something and I had 45 minutes to recover. I'm not gonna build my muscle back up. As long as you're eating properly, your body, that the muscle is going to build back up. I mean, if you didn't eat, if you had, listen, a 30 to 45 minute workout, you don't need that much afterwards. You do a little.
No, I'm saying 30 minutes to an hour after the workout. So like after
right.
Well,
again, that's what we've been taught, right? So if if you're eating at noon and it's working for you, then that's fine. But are you dying and being like, oh my God, I need something so bad. This is so bad. Like I'm starving.
Sometimes it's a mix of both. Like this morning, I was like, I did a 6 a.m. class and I came home and I was like, oh my God, like I didn't have a huge dinner last night and it was like a little bit earlier than we normally eat. And I was like, oh my God, I am freaking starving. Like I need to eat something immediately or else I'm going to rip someone's head off.
So I think you just answered your question, making sure that if you're working out early and you're going to fast that day, because I don't know if you're fasting every day, is that night
not every day.
Make sure that you have a good meal.
And again, and I'm gonna piggyback on all of that. Like, people say that you have to eat to build your muscle, right? Like you have to have protein to build your muscle within 30 minutes after you work out. Like, let's be very clear. Like your body's not going to start eating itself 30 minutes after it's done.
No, it's not.
Right? Like, we've all learned the process of using energy, right? So the food you ate last night is the readily available energy you're using for that exercise that you're doing at 6 a.m. You burn through that, right? There's still plenty of energy stored. We're all going to agree. We still have plenty of energy to store. So that energy that's stored is the next source of energy it's going to use. It's got to get through all of that energy to get to your muscle, to eat your muscle. So that process is not 30 minutes. So my opinion is fast.
Okay. Got it.
The best thing to do is exercise during a fast because all you do is speed up the ketosis process. That is all you do. You're burning through the readily available energy faster because you're using intense energy for one single hour. You don't have to wait for just time to pass to use it. So you've revved that system, you've revved that fast up quicker. So you're going to get to that ketosis state faster by exercising within your fast. You want to stay in ketosis. So the longer you stay in ketosis, the more you're using stored fat as fuel. It's science. That is it. You have to get through all of that to then start to eat away at your muscle.
Now listen,
So
if you're running like an ultra marathon, that's a different story, right?
No,
You gotta
yeah.
eat during it, you gotta eat after it, right? But just as long as it's working for you, stick with it. And again, you answered your question. Like if you come home from the gym on a day and you're like, I just didn't have a big dinner last night and I'm just hungry, that's okay to break your fast. Break it with a protein or a healthy fat.
Yeah. I think for the most part, I'm not fasting every day, so I could work it into where I feel, I can handle it and et cetera, et cetera. So thank
And
you,
don't
ladies,
feel
for
guilty.
answering my
And
question.
don't feel guilty if you if you break it and you weren't supposed to yet, right? Don't feel guilty.
Mhm.
And if
There's
you're
always-
starving, another tip, which I was just learning, sorry, Cardi, I'm gonna cut you off. Have just like a spoonful of avocado.
Mhm.
That gets you through the rest of the fast. Okay, it's a healthy fat. Yes, you have to digest it. It may bring you out a little bit, but it's not that much and it's a healthy fat, so it's not going to spike you. I'm not saying
Right.
the whole avocado, maybe a small, like a tablespoon of avocado, something super healthy fat. See if that gets you a couple more hours.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, that's okay. And that's called like a dirty fast. You're cheating a little bit, but it's bringing you up and you're going to drop down fairly quickly and you're going to give yourself a little more room. So try that and see. Again, that may work for some people and may not, but try it and see.
And
Got
Allison,
it. Okay.
you said something really interesting in that last statement. You were like, I didn't eat a lot last night and we ate earlier. So your
Yeah.
fast was actually longer than you thought it was because you locked yourself into like my 8 o'clock to whatever clock. If you ate at 6:30 last night and you didn't have a big dinner and you were done, by the time you got home, you were probably already an hour later in your fast than you normally were.
Right. This is true.
Right.
Yeah, and
So
I didn't
we're
have like a
hungry.
little treat last night. Like sometimes I'll have those little
Right.
chocolate almonds. Like I had nothing.
Right.
Like I ended that eating window like super early. Like I honestly think like honey, what time did we eat last night? Like 7 o'clock? No, 6. We ate at 6 last night. That's why. We
Right,
ate
so
at
by
6 o'clock
Yeah.
last night.
So
By
you
6:30,
got your fast
fine.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Got it.
So like, but by the time you got to your class, you were 12 hours in, you revved it, you quickened up the process. By 7 o'clock, you were through what you had probably eaten the night before. Right?
Yeah, and I
600
didn't
calories
eat
later, I'm sure you.
until 8:30 anyway. So like
Right.
by the time I showered, made my eggs, it was 8:30 and I was like ravenous. I'm like, oh
You were
my
still-
God.
You were still at a 14-hour fast. So
Yeah.
that's probably right. So just remember what time you stop eating too sometimes, guys. Because there are times that I wake up in the morning and I'm like, why am I so hungry right now? I'm like, oh shoot, I had a really early dinner last night. Right. Like it just was the way the night went. So it's not it doesn't have to always be like, you lock in your head, like I have to eat at 12. But if you stopped earlier the night before, you don't have to start at 12.
Right.
So no, you do not have to eat right after a workout to recover is the answer to that question. Your body is beautiful and your body will recover. We're not doing bodybuilding shows where we need to like deplete and pump ourselves back
Eat,
up.
eat like ground chicken. Yeah, exactly.
Correct. We're not doing that. So
okay.
yeah. I mean, if you
Thank
want
you.
to,
I love you.
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I think I love the tool of intermittent fasting. I just don't want anyone to feel that they have to do it or overdo it either, right? Because then it becomes a problem. But there's so many ways to play with it. So just like reach out and ask us. There's so many different ways to like put that number together that works for you. Does anybody else have any questions? So I want to like go back 6 weeks and I want to bring you all back to where you are today. Think about how you felt about good fat, counting calories, how you read a label, how you understood like the give and the take, the overdoing it one day and how to undo it the next day. Like, good fat burns fat. Good fat needs energy, calories to digest. It keeps you full. It's good for your brain. It's good for your health. Fiber is your friend. Not only does it keep you full, it cleans out your colon, it keeps cholesterol down. Why? Because we can't digest it. So the second it gets to our small intestines, think of it as a rake. It is literally scraping through your entire body and pulling all the toxins and bad stuff out. So make sure your fiber is always on point. And some days are not great, but just make the better choice, right? A really yummy sourdough bread or a really yummy Dave's Crazy bread. You can still have eggs either way. Which choice are you going to make? Which swap are you going to put in? No one's telling you not to have bread, right? Yogurt. How do you deal with, how are you dealing with dairy? Does it affect you? Does it not affect you? Did you find the yogurt that you like? Is yogurt a trigger for you? It's a trigger for me. Makes me eat granola. I don't think of yogurt without granola. I don't. Not gonna eat it without granola. So just thinking about like what you've learned, right? So the importance of good fat and why we use it. And again, Allison, back to your point, when you're done with a workout and you're gonna eat something, right? And you're fasting, ideally that should be a higher fat, higher protein meal, because that'll cut that cord, right? If you don't have the good fat and the protein in that first meal, you're gonna be really hungry the rest of the day. You can't
Oh yeah,
catch
it's
up.
always eggs and avocado. Oh
Yeah, you can't catch up if you don't have a, and think about how beautiful that is. Like you're like, oh wow, like if I just have the half of an avocado and 2 eggs, I'm not hungry. If you broke that with oatmeal, which we know we shouldn't, you'd be so hungry, or a piece of fruit. You'd be so hungry the rest of the day. It's like starting your day with a Snickers bar. So understanding the importance of that, right? So why is good fat so important? Why is fiber so important? Why is protein so important? Right? And then we move on to the insulin. Guys, it's like, it's the key to everything, right? If your highs and lows are all over the place, so are you. Right? And there's spaces for them. There's spaces for pizza and there's spaces for ice cream. But if you overdo something on Monday, that doesn't mean that you need to punish yourself on Tuesday. You just need to go low, so say you have too many carbohydrates on Monday. It doesn't mean you need to punish yourself on Tuesday. Just don't have as many on Tuesday, and then don't have as many on Wednesday, and you've leveled it out. Right? It doesn't have to be a screw it. It doesn't have to be, oh my God, I had, one day off. I have to go back to day one. You just have to look at it as the whole picture and be like, okay, went a little overboard on that. So tomorrow I'm going to pull that one back, whether it's carbohydrates or good fat, whatever it was, or cheat, right? Just pull it back. So insulin is the key thing, guys. I mean, if you want to print out that tank and put it somewhere so that you can really understand, like, did I spill it over? And you know what you feel like now. You know when you're putting and you know when you're spilling over. Right? So, and then going into like your digestion and the process of it. Chew your food slower. Slow down the process. Slow down, look at your food, acknowledge what you're eating. And even if you're an intermittent faster, right, and you're really, really hungry when you go into one day and you know what your portion size looks at, stop at your portion size, walk away. You know what your portion looks like. Just stop it, make your portion. Even if you're still hungry, walk away, give yourself 20 minutes, recognize how you feel. And if you still need a little bit more that day, then maybe you have a little bit more fat. Right, there are days that I break my fast and I'm ravenous, but I know what my portion size looks like and I don't let it get past that portion size. I know what it looks like. So that's for me, like that's like my box that I eat out of. And some days it's easier to stay in that box and some days it's not, but and some days I fail at it. But it doesn't, I just undo it. I just don't have a little snack later that I was supposed to have or whatever. I just feel like, oh, well, I had it at one time, so I'm not gonna have it later. So we love to talk about mantras, like something that I think you should all take away with you. Because a lot of this, now that you have the education, is the self-talk. Because without having your weekly call and your Facebook board and all that stuff, it's really easy to just say, well, no one's watching, right? So we love for you to leave us with a mantra that will help you on your own journey. We also have an accountability program, which we will talk about. So if you're scared, we have 2 different programs that you are only allowed in if you've completed this program. They go month to month. There's 2 different versions of it. There's another private Facebook board for each one of those. So you're still in this community. One of them is more in depth where we have like a monthly call, just like we're doing now. Any new information we talk about, you have access to a new WISC community and continuing new recipes and all that stuff happens. You get discounts to these programs. So there's one program like that. And there's another one that is pretty basic. And it's just the WISC community that's continuously growing. And it's a Facebook board to chit chat. Just so you're in a community of people. So obviously there's a different price to both of those. But a mantra is something that's super important. And my mantra has never changed. And we've had people change mantras throughout their course of with us. mine has always been and has always helped me. How do I want to feel tomorrow? It helps me make the right choice, whether it's food, exercise, putting myself to bed, like how I handle my children, putting my head on the pillow when I wake up in the morning and the first time I open my eyes, how do I feel? Am I pissed at myself? Or am I like, fuck yeah, I nailed it? Right? So finding your mantra, and you can steal mine. Mine is, how do I want to feel tomorrow? It helps me pause before I make a bad decision. It helped me pause to make the right decision. Lori, what's your mantra?
You got this.
You got this. Get it done. I love it. Like, just
Karen,
what-
can we get those mantras in a sign form through the Whisk app, or
We
can
can-
we just create that on our own?
Here's
you know,
one.
I'm gonna make bracelets for each of you.
You got this.
We're gonna get. I'm gonna get a tattoo down my arm.
Nice.
But my mantra has worked for me for. I've had it for 6 years. It has been the one thing that has been constant for me that like has genuinely helped me stay the course and stay in lane. Plus the education, obviously, knowing that this is the long game. This is not just about my jeans fitting and going on vacation. This is about how I want to feel in 10 years. Because if I think about the shit I did 10 years ago to my body, if I knew then what I know now, I never would have done what I did 10 years ago. Right? The price I'm paying to undo a lot of the shit choices I made when I was younger, I'm sure we all have them. But just thinking about the long game, like in 10 years from now, how do you want to move? How do you want to feel? Those are the choices that you need to make today, because undoing it, the older we get, the harder it is. Anybody have an idea what their mantra might be? Let me go to the chat. I don't think I have a chat on here.
And guys, Michelle here. Sorry, I'm kind of logged in anonymous today. I don't know how that happened, but mine is get it done, because sometimes like I don't effing want to. Like there are mornings that I get up and I'm like, no, like it would just be easier to grab like my kids' leftover slice of pizza. And then it kind of correlates with Karen's, like, how do you want to feel? But I mean, there are days that like, I don't want to do the workout. I don't want to do the meal prep, and it's just so important. And so then I have to like have that honest conversation with myself and be like, all right, get it done, because this is important. And I love it so much that I actually had all the letters cut out on a CNC machine. One of my friends has those, and I put them on my gym wall. So then I really didn't have any excuse. I had to get it done. So
Post it up tomorrow because it's so cute.
yep, I will.
You know, like I think sometimes we let the prep get in the way. Like we're like so tired. And somebody put this funny post up, just a friend of mine on her public page, and it was like, I want to get it right because it was so funny. She was like, I just finished a chore I've been putting off for 18 months. It took me 15 minutes. Will I learn from this? Probably not. And I was like, that's so funny, right? Like if you actually think about how long it takes for you to clean out your closet, it's probably 20 minutes. And it burns on you. It's up there, you know, it's up there, you should do it. But like to start doing it is so much harder than doing it. But once you do it, it's over in 15 or 20 minutes and it feels so good. That's what prep is like. Sometimes it feels daunting. It's really not that hard, guys. You can like prep while you're watching your favorite show. Like pull together your turkey pesto meatballs, throw them in the oven, watch your show, put your timer on, put them in a Tupperware, you're done. Make a bean salad in the afternoon between pickup and drop off. It's not, the hardest part is going to the supermarket, right? So like, don't let the prep part be the part that just starts to make you veer off lane, because it's not as hard as it seems. And you don't have to prep for the entire week. You can prep for 2 days. Right. So
Speaking from someone who hates prep, I literally hate it, like
Right.
more than life itself. And I'm not gonna lie, there were a few moments I was like, I fucking hate this. But
Right.
it doesn't have to be like, I've really leaned into a lot of the stuff that's not as heavy prep, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like the Trader Joe's like cauliflower thins, and the Trader Joe's like turkey meatballs, and the chicken sausage, and the zoodles. Like that's not that hard. Like I feel like 1 or 2 times a week I'll make something that requires like me chopping, because I hate chopping. I hate it.
You can buy
Colin's
vegetables
amazing and
already
has
chopped now.
definitely
You can buy
Oh,
them
the
already chopped now.
the chopped onions, that's my favorite thing at Trader Joe's. I'm like, yep, pre-chopped yellow onions, I'll take those. I don't care if I have to pay more for it.
That's
Because I
fine.
am not I am
think
not into that.
Think about what your hurdle is. Your hurdle is, like you just said, you hate the shopping part of it, right?
No,
Like
the chopping. I hate shopping.
Shopping.
you hate shopping.
I hate the
No.
shopping part as well as all
No,
the
like
prep.
chopping the vegetables. I don't care about the shopping. I'll go shopping all day, but I don't want to chop the vegetables.
But if you hate the shopping, then so there's two answers to that. You can buy pre-chopped vegetables, and if
Yeah.
you hate shopping, you can shop online and either pick it up at store or have it delivered.
No,
So
you
I'm
guys,
thinking
it's
about- I'm thinking
CHOP, chop. They don't know
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
shop.
Chop.
No, I said shop.
Yeah,
No,
you
but
chop.
someone else said shop.
Sorry.
Yeah, someone else said shop.
Shop
like
and
the-
shop.
I don't mind
You're-
shopping because I have teenagers, so I feel like anytime that they can see
That
me with
gets
a
your
big
anger
knife,
out. Yeah, that gets your anger out.
No, but I agree with the Trader Joe's and all the prepackaged, whatever. It makes it easier. It's not as daunting. Because I think early on you guys mentioned something about, eating out still takes time. And I'm like, Uber Eats takes 5 minutes tops. So it's been great to find, kind of pre-approved different things at Trader Joe's. And I agree, if I have to pay a little bit more, I'm willing to do that to kind of
Yeah.
just track. So
Yeah, I mean, listen, whatever works for you. And like, you could go to your deli counter and get their chicken salad. Like, you don't have to make chicken salad. Like, if it's from the deli counter, it's made there. They're using Hellman's mayo. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be from your kitchen every single time. It just has to be the better choice. Right? If you hate chopping
Amen.
vegetables, buy a crudité. They're already chopped up for you. Yes, you're gonna pay more money for it, but yeah, I just think it's finding the system that works for you and recognizing that, like, there's going to be parts of every job, everything in life that you don't like, right? Like, I don't mind taking the dishes out of the dishwasher. I don't mind putting the folded clothing away. I hate taking the stuff out of the washing machine into the dryer. I don't like, right? So like, you still have to do it. It still has to get there. I'm not like, and it moves, so I mean, I do have Ray does it all, but there's going to be a part of everything that you do in life is that one annoying part, and it's just recognizing that you just got to get it done. Just do it, right? Like, it's more annoying to talk about how much you in your brain, how much you hate it, because once you start doing it, you realize it's not that big of a deal. It didn't take up that much time, and find your shortcuts like you're doing. But if you start to let the prep slip, everything starts to slip with it. But again, you find your shortcuts. Mine is Trader Joe's. Mine is frozen food out of my freezer. That's my shortcut.
Yeah.
Can of tomato sauce, meatballs, turn on, walk away. 20 minutes later, I serve it with, hearts of palm, or maybe nothing. Maybe I'm just eating just the meatballs and I have a salad. Really wasn't that hard. You can even cut a bag of lettuce open, from Trader Joe's. So like, you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely, yeah, I agree with you, buddy. Like, there's nothing to that. And it's great choices. They're healthy. They're safe. You don't have to make ground turkey meatballs. But just my last bit of advice would be just to be consistent with your prep. And then eat your prep. Don't prep and then say, I don't want it.
no,
Yes.
I agree. Even for me, the prep piece, it's actually easy for me to prep for the whole week, because if I have a busy day and I only prepped for the first half, it's way easier to go out of bounds or think about going out of bounds, right?
Right.
So it's actually easier for me to at least have, I may not food prep all Sunday, but have the groceries here, whether it's
Yes.
or whatever, so that I don't have an excuse.
That's amazing. That's what I do. When I food shop, I go and like I have my staples and they're just in the refrigerator, and I'm like, okay, tomorrow I have XYZ, I'm going to make these meatballs, like, and they might not even be for dinner that night. I'm just
Right.
making them so that they're there if I need them.
Mhm.
Right. And when all else fails, guys, I just eat eggs.
That is
When
so
I'm, What'd you say?
Yeah,
That is so true. I've fallen back on that a few times too. If I didn't feel like cooking a more elaborate recipe or whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have eggs and that English muffin tonight.
Totally. And it works. It
Yep.
works.
I think prepping of like the small stuff too, like prepping the hard boiled eggs for the week to have that as a snack. Like if I see that in my fridge as a hard boiled, I'm like, oh, that'll fill me up. I'm gonna grab a hard boiled egg.
Yeah.
Just even a simple prep like that, or like those cookie dough balls with the
Yep.
chia seeds and the protein, like those. Like I'm like, oh, if I'm craving something sweet, it
Yep.
like does the trick and fills me up. So it doesn't even for me, like sometimes I'm like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a full blown meal as a prep. Like the snack part is important too.
100%. That's how I
So,
prep. I
yeah.
prep lunch and I prep for like grabs when I need something.
Yeah, grabs are good.
Right, like a hard-boiled egg. Like I'm a huge orange chicken meatball person. Like I make 2 pounds of that probably every single week.
Oh, those are
And-
really good. We made those.
They're in my refrigerator all of the time. They're
And the
just like-
chicken basil bites. Those were delicious.
and the chicken basil.
Mhm.
And by the way, you can make the chicken basil bites like a meatball. So you can take the entire recipe, instead of putting the chicken basil bite like in the flour on the outside and putting it in the fryer, you could put the breadcrumb or whatever you're choosing inside of it and make them little meatballs.
Oh my God, because that's what I did. And then I thought I messed up. And I was
No.
like, I think it's going to be fine. And
No.
it was fine. They were
No,
still
yeah,
really good.
totally, yeah. Yeah, like that's how I make them now, because I just make them like little meatballs.
Yeah, they were delicious.
Yeah, and when it comes to the summertime, guys, any of the meatballs are great as burgers on the grill.
Yeah.
Just make it a patty and grill it. They're just as good. With an Arnold's keto bun, make some slaw and put it on top of there. Make a nice little salad on the side, and everyone's gonna be like, "I thought you were on a diet." You're like, I am. Look at me. I mean, I live on them. I live on it all summer. Like it's just, it's just they're easy.
Save your recipes in Whisk. Click that save button, because that's when, like, sometimes we're like, I don't know what I want. And then I was like, hadn't made it in a while. And the other night I made the Tuscan chicken and Tuscan shrimp, and you can make it with chicken too. God, it's so good. And it's so,
That is so good.
it's literally, yeah, your protein, your sun-dried tomatoes, spinach, coconut milk. It's so easy. So that's a good one. And I did that with the skinny pasta, and I didn't use cauliflower rice. That was great.
Did you guys, anyone ever try the peasant shrimp yet?
Not yet.
Okay, it's really good. I would recommend trying that. It's chock full of healthy and filling and lasts long. It's a good one. And
That
like
also reminded, oops, sorry, go ahead, Car.
no.
No, I was gonna say that also reminded me, Colin wanted to ask about, he's upstairs with me, so now, but about, they're like, Colin, chime in if you can, but those like glass noodles, what the heck were they?
Oh, those rice noodles.
They're like shiitake or something.
yeah,
They're
let me
like
look 'em up.
clear.
Yeah,
They look like it looks like angel hair pasta, but
Yeah.
it's like
Look at the
clear.
label, because there's a lot of like rice noodles like that are the high carb, not bad, but high carb. And then there's
I
some that
don't think it's made from some vegetable. I don't think there's a lot of carbs.
Shirataki noodles.
you know
are
the
good.
brand of it?
Yes. No, I don't know the brand.
look at the label, and then or Kara, can you look it up?
I'm looking up right now. I'm gonna just put in glass noodles and see what happens.
While she's looking that up, I'm gonna, because we're gonna run out of time here. I wanted to just touch base with you guys about, again, the next steps, and if you guys want to are interested in staying with us for our accountability program. We have 2 programs. We have a program where it's just, you can, so right now the recipes you have in Whisk are the recipes you have in Whisk. There won't be any more added. But if you want to join our accountability group, you'll have access to our accountability recipes, which is every recipe on the planet that we've ever put out, plus a Facebook board. And that's our basic group. That's no education. That's just, I want to just stay in touch with you guys. I want some new recipes. And then we have our growth accountability, which is, we do a monthly call. We do one-on-one calls, we do education. You'll get access to all the one-off programs. So this group just had access to the menu guides and the recipes from this group. They have, we do different challenges. We've done a book club. We're having a call next week on some menopause things that I've learned, filling people in on some of the newer education that we're doing. So it's just a nice accountability group, and there's actually about 6 of them right now that have gotten on a text string to hold each other accountable. And they're from all over the country, which is really cool. So I like to see that. And that board can be as active as you want it or quiet. Sometimes it gets quiet and then sometimes it's blowing up. So we post new recipes there, just anything. It's like a really active, stay in touch with calls. You get a one-on-one call every month or more if you need, just always being in touch with the coaches and to help you. And if you're plateauing, and that's a separate portal. And there's tons of different menu guides in there, from carb cycling to fasting to the ones that you just had. And then we do a lot of worksheets and stuff too. Mantra calls, we'll do goals for the quarter, all different kind of things. So those, we do offer those 2 programs. Both of those programs, you commit to 3 months and then it's month to month after. So we decided like if you want to commit, 3 months is a good commitment, because you really need a couple months to just stay focused, stay involved. And then it's just month to month after. You can cancel anytime. I did put the growth accountability in the portal. I'll put that in one more time. That's the growth. And then I'll put the basic one. That's just the recipes.
And just a little plug for our growth program. I go in there all the time and just experiment with new recipes. Lori and Karen do as well, but like we're constantly adding, but I have a lot of fun going in and putting in recipes, or we'll do challenges of like create your favorite like junk food dupe. And so like I recreated a clean cut version of like Chick-fil-A's fried chicken, but made it like clean cut appropriate. So we have a lot of fun in that group.
For sure.
It is fun.
The link up so I can get a link. All right, let me put this in.
And also to let you guys know, like, after this week is over, your Facebook page doesn't like just shut down. Like, there's still time to gather any information you want on there. Like, maybe you want to go through the media side of it and you want to save pictures that you've seen, or you want to scroll through and look back at posts and like screenshot it. It doesn't just like vanish, right? It will be archived in a couple of weeks, but it's not this hard stop at the end. So just take your time and go through. I mean, don't take too much time because we do take it down, but just make sure you go through the media part and like remember the pictures of foods that you wanted to try, or images that people put up of products, and just some of the videos, like things that you want to keep. I would make sure that you go through that and you sift through and take it out. Your portal that you have right now with all of your information will be there for another year. It does not go away for another year. After a year, it will expire. So download whatever you want or need from it. We will not ever stop you. We want you to succeed. Obviously, our goal is for you to succeed. But like Lori said, if you need the physical contact of a human being, we have those 2 options for you. So this is not this hard stop ending for anybody. We don't want you to think that you did the 6 weeks, poof, I'm done. You just got started. So
it takes a good 6 months to a year to create new habits that stick. And even through that time, it's going to ebb and flow. So it's nice to have a group that is safe, that you trust, that and honestly, you've seen it here in accountability too. We've gotten on a call and not even announced nutrition has come up and someone's been crying about something else. And it's just life and, being there for each other. And it always turns back into nutrition somehow. But, it's a nice, it's more than just what you're putting in your mouth to create those new habits. So anybody have any questions on that?
Guys, thank you so much. You guys feel good? Like, is everyone happy with their results? Feel like you learned something? Like when you actually think about 6 weeks ago to now, I'm really hoping that you're like, wow, all the things I didn't know, or all the things I thought I knew, right? Like we've said it to you from day one. It's a puzzle that you have to put together. And once you put that last piece in and the picture is crystal clear, you just have to work the system that works for you. And that's it. And going on vacation is part of the system. Go and enjoy yourself. And when you come back, just go back to week 1 for a couple of days just to get your mind and everything gears going. And the longer you are clean, the easier the transition is. So like, if you think back to your first week 1, it probably was a little hard or felt pretty pretty challenging, you didn't feel great. The longer you're clean, that 1 week that you're not is undone in like 2 days. It's pretty magical what happens. Your body is remembers what you did. And you haven't caused a traffic jam yet, right? You just had a little road bump. You just had a little detour. All you need to do is like circle back around. So just trust that the longer you do this, the easier this becomes, and the more quickly your body will respond from a rebound. You guys have been great. Thank you for coming on to all the
Also
calls.
post these links up on the Facebook board and you can ask questions or reach out to us. And yeah, any questions at all, reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer anything for you guys.
It's been a
Awesome.
great group.
Yeah,
Go
you guys
to-
are great.
Yay, we love you guys.
It's been great. This has been fun.
Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, all
Great.
right, we'll see you guys.
Bye.
Right.